Welcome to Not So New News. Come along with us as we continue to discover an Appalachian time gone by. Today's article comes from the town of Whitesburg in Letcher County Kentucky's newspaper, The Mountain Eagle. Volume 5, Number 4, Industrial Edition, 3rd section, dated June 6, 1912. Page 12 is named As the Picture Man Views Things and continued in today's reading. A relic of the past. The above shows the wooden bridge across the North Fork leading into the Fraser addition. This structure is soon to give way to an up-to-date steel bridge, the contract for the same having already been let. In the distance is seen the Masonic Hall. A neat residence, home of Dr. J. M. Bentley and family, out in Bentley Addition. A former Letcherite. To write of George W. Venners is to write of the spirit of thrift and enterprise. Born amid the cloud-capped hills of Wise County, Virginia, when a mere boy, he came to Letcher and began his struggle for education and the development of a sturdy manhood. It was all left to George, and well did he steer his course. In 1886 he entered college at Milligan, Tennessee. With just $3.50 in his pocket, for 3 years he remained a student working his way through. Returning to Letcher, he began his career as a teacher and for 16 years was one of our leading educators. Besides carrying on successful farming and stock raising at the same time, he was one of the promoters of Old Whitesburg State Bank and is now stockholder in Union Bank. He was in the employment of Mineral Development Company in this country for 3 years and was one of its most trusted employees. Having bought a farm in Tennessee a few years ago, he resigned his position and moved to it. He now resides at Portland and is Vice President and Director of Portland Bank and Vice President Assistant General Manager of the Braswell Tie and Log Company, with a branch at Portland and a stockholder in the same. A better businessman than George Venners was never reared in the hills of eastern Kentucky. Lawyer, farmer, poultry fancier, and general mountain booster. L. W. Fields and wife and their interesting children. A leading military man. Major John A. Webb will go as delegate to Democratic National Convention in Baltimore. John A. Webb is the youngest son of Willer W. Webb, Sr. of Mayking, and about 35 years of age. For years he was one of the leading teachers of the county. Then a successful merchant and businessman. He organized the first company of state guards in the county and was commanding officer for it for some years. He is now major of a battalion in the 2nd Regiment KSG and a leader in the military movements of the state. He is popular and favorably known throughout Kentucky. The reason why. We are asked to give the reason why we put this big bird out, why we stand upon the hilltops and shout and shout and shout. The reason, yes, the reason, is noble and sublime. And so we tell it all to you in words that often rhyme. The answer? When the dimpled baby's hungry, what does the baby do? It doesn't lie serenely and merely sweetly coo. The hungry baby bellows with all of its little might, till someone gives it something to curb its appetite. The infant with the bottle still its fretful cries, a lesson plainly teaches, it pays to advertise. A quartet that is hard to beat. A successful merchant. Martin D. Lewis. To speak of M. D. Lewis is to speak of the big merchandising firm of the Lewis brothers. For a number of years Mr. Lewis engaged in educational work in the county. Then he engaged in the merchandising and was a success from the beginning. At present, he is a business manager for the firm of Lewis Brothers. Mr. Lewis lives at Whitesburg, where he has an interesting family. He is active in religious work and is superintendent of the Baptist Sunday School at this place. A skilled mechanic. J. H. Gibson. Whitesburg and Letcher County boast of no better citizen than Hop Gibson. Mr. Gibson is a skilled mechanic, and what he can't shape into a delicate mold from a piece of lumber, no other man can. As a cabinet maker and woodworker, his superior is not in this country. He is a native Letcherite and highly connected in the county, both by birth and marriage. Mr. Gibson resides at Whitesburg with his interesting family. A popular mason. N. R. Day. Randall Day is a popular citizen and prominent farmer residing just above town. He was a teacher for a number of years. He has long been leading masons belonging to that order at this place. Some years ago he purchased the David Holcomb farm above town and has since developed into a successful farmer and stockman. He is married and had an excellent and intelligent family consisting of a wife and 5 children. A young merchant. Stephen P. Jenkins. The above is a very fair representation of Stephen P. Jenkins, a young merchant of Whitesburg and a member of the firm of Jenkins Brothers, Main Street Merchants. Mr. Jenkins was for several years a leading teacher of the county. He is a son of the late Arch Jenkins, formerly well-known citizen. He is unmarried and quite popular in the younger set, and mayhaps a wedding bells may ring for him in the near future. This concludes today's reading of page 12 of the June 6, 1912 Mountain Eagle. We at Kentucky Tennessee Living would like to thank you for your continued support as we bring to you the history of the Appalachian Mountains.